7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Welcome into another edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. We are sitting here. This is our Monday edition, but it is Degen Sunday, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. I don't even really know how to explain that, so I'm not gonna. Just know it's a fun day where we lose a lot of money, and then we try to get it all back on the randomest acts of betting that William Hill allows us to do. We got
You should have made a left and went to roulette.
I probably should have done a sound check before.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I was worried about my Degen Sunday. So anyways, so half the people you heard there was Spike on mic 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that was my cue to say something else since I had just said something. And I'm saying more things.
Cool.
So, yeah. That's good.
Token Tony is monitoring our sweat bet on mic 3 over there.
Yeah, some Chinese tennis and break point right now, so not too bad.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
You haven't known each time.
I don't know what it means. Just tell me when I win, I guess.
I'll tell you the good outcome, hopefully.
All right, so thumbs up, thumbs down. What are we sitting at right now? Thumbs up? Okay, cool.
Juice.
And fuck. I know what that means.
A long game. Yeah.
So, and then we've got Tony Johnson on the other mic, the auxiliary mic 4.
I'm tailing you on your extreme degen action here at the end of the day. I am actually tailing you on this wager. So that is that's what's happening right now. I'm following along with whatever token is yelling out as well.
Yeah, and the worst part about this is we're tailing that, so half my mind's focused on Chinese tennis in the middle of the day over there across the world. Then my computer just said that the web page stopped responding, so now I have to figure out how to get that back up. So, Spike, why don't you tell us how your week's been?
So,
did you have a Degen Sunday of your own?
I did not have a Degen Sunday, but I was able to fire a couple poker tournaments on Saturday, cashing one, so that was nice. The guy made a huge mistake. We were heads up, final table. I had him covered about 3-1 in chips, and he doubled up through me. And he just, after we counted out our stacks, he was just like, okay, you want to chop it up even? I'm like, yes,
I do.
Now that I am completely dominated for chips.
I've had that happen. I know Token has had it in a huge tournament, actually. I mean, huge for, what was it, like a $150 buy-in?
$150 buy-in was like $3,100 I got.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it was a long tournament, and he was the chip leader for such a long time, and he actually got bled down through the antes to third in chips.
Oh.
Out of the 4 people.
Oh.
And we're sitting there, because he kept going. They were offering a deal, even job. He's like, I'm not taking it, I'm not taking it, I'm ahead.
I'm a better player, yeah.
And he's not wrong in this spot. And then all of a sudden, I started looking, I'm like, I didn't say anything to anybody, but I'm like, man, he's bleeding chips here. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they're like, why don't we just give Anthony $3,100 and we'll all just split the rest? And I'm like, take the fucking deal!
At first I'm like, yeah, I am.
So then...
like, why are you? I'm like, I'm not the chip leader anymore.
Yeah, so then they start looking at, after the money's all passed out, this one guy, he's a really good poker player, really nice guy. He comes to Vegas sometimes. This poker tournament was off in another city. He's in a wheelchair, and he finally gets up, looks over, and he goes, I think I'm the chip leader.
It wasn't too far off.
It wasn't too far off, but the fact of the matter is you had an overwhelming chip lead, and you kind of got bled down, but nobody paid attention. Mm-hmm. That was the best part. So, anyways, yeah, there's been some times where you're right. You're like, somebody just wants to get out of there and be done with it, especially those dailies. They don't take very long, right?
Yeah, no, this was about 3.5 hours into it, and we were already heads up at that point, and he had just had no interest in continuing on. He had no interest in playing the tournament. I think he either wanted to jump in the cash game or go home. I don't know what his plan was, but
it sounds like me, except for I don't really get to the point where there's chopping options.
Yeah, I'll take the $400 at 2:00 in the morning and run home. So
yeah, usually me is I bust out and rebuy is still available for 2 hours.
Yeah, well there you go.
So, anyways, well, we want to thank you for listening. We want to thank the sponsors here real quick: Vegas Puckline Apparel, ChaiPoker.com, Eric on the Web Productions, and, of course, the ones who put our dribble on twice a week. That is 12-Ounce Sports Radio. It's been a big week. Obviously, it's the start of the league year. I believe that was the 14th, but the 3 days prior was what the NFL likes to call legalized tampering, a.k.a. the early free agency period. And we've had a lot of movement. Any initial shock values for your team or something you didn't see coming? The first one I will say is the old switcheroo where Anthony Barr had all but pretty much put pen to paper with the Jets and then realized, oh, fuck, it's the Jets, and went back home to Minnesota for a 5-year deal.
Yeah, I'm surprised he even considered the Jets in the first place. But, I mean, they did pick up Bell and a few other key pieces. So
yeah, I'd say they made out like a bandit with Le'Veon Bell, but we'll get into him more in depth. But I know for you, every year, I don't know your specific opinion, Spike, but I'm sure I know your dad's opinion. The Pats lost a lot of guys again.
They did, and he's upset that not only did they lose a lot of guys, but guys like
Michael Bennett, I'm assuming. He's not happy about that one either.
He likes Michael Bennett's stats. He figures if anybody in this league can control his shitty attitude, it's Belichick.
Fair.
But his problem is he knew Trey Flowers was gone, not just by the signing of Bennett, but the fact that the Patriots don't pay premium wages to players.
Just not that position, too.
Yeah, just not something they're going to do. They've been cheaping out for years. So knowing that he was going to be in the 16 to 19 million range, and especially considering the Patriots only had about 25 million in cap space available at that point, knowing that he was going to be gone kind of frustrated him. Actually, the one thing that really frustrated me was a little bit of a shock. Apparently, the report came out that the Patriots outbid the Raiders for Antonio Brown, and Pittsburgh said, fuck you, we're not trading him.
That's never happening, yeah.
Yeah. So
Pittsburgh's already been terrorized by New England for the last 14 years.
Yeah.
give them Brown against them.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, you can just close up shop for the next 5 years or however long Tom Brady decides he wants to eat kale for breakfast. Well, Trey did leave New England, Token, and he went to your Lions, who basically look like the New England Patriots of the Motor City.
Yeah, but it's the fucking Lions. They're going to be fourth in the division.
There it is.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're projected to go 5th this year. Nice. Well, I know that you've had a lot of things, Tony Johnson, to say about Nick Foles. Is that the biggest shock or disappointment or surprise not named Le'Veon Bell to the Jets to you?
I'm not surprised it happened. I think we had talked about this earlier, and I had my initial thought was that some team is going to take a chance and pay him real quarterback money. I didn't know who that was going to be. The fact that it happens to be Jacksonville, and they seem like they're going down this hole that they've been in previous years, and the fact that Tom Coughlin is in charge of things there, and he feels that Nick Foles is sort of a savior to this offense, because essentially that's what you have to believe if you're signing a quarterback for 3 years of
Do they even have a marginal offensive line to kind of contain him, though?
They spend a lot of money on the offensive line. The defense,
yeah.
Again, they're going to have a 4th-place schedule again, which was good for them 2 years ago. If Nick Foles is 2 steps above Blake Bortles, I think they're back in the contention race. Mm-hmm. Because, again, they have the 4th-place schedule. The only difference is between that year that they went to the AFC title game and this next year is that they have a healthy Andrew Luck in the division. That didn't happen 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And Deshaun Watson's going to get a step better, and that Houston team's always kind of, they're kind of 50-50. They played
right on the cusp of either really being good or missing the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it makes them more competitive than, obviously, my guy Bortles, and I'm really kind of curious to see what happens to him. I obviously know there's not a starting position out there, but I'm sure he'll be another one of those. If he gets a job, then the Kaepernick guys will all come, oh, look at Blake Bortles got a job. Anyways, so... Yeah, Nick Foles, $50 million guaranteed. I mean, this is the kind of contract that if it doesn't work out, this gets coaches and GMs fired. So it's kind of an interesting one. But at the same time, I mean, he was the big quarterback that moved. There wasn't a lot else going on the free agent market. And I don't know exactly where the Jaguars pick, but, I mean, they're not going to be throwing all their eggs in the Kyler Murray basket at this point, no?
No, I didn't see that coming anyhow, but...
I don't think they pick high. I mean, they might pick higher than the Giants. Look at like Dwayne Haskins. They still may take a quarterback at this point. I mean, I don't know what Marone and
Well, like you said, it's always good to draft a quarterback every year, and
yeah, but you don't want to spend your fourth pick of the draft every year on a quarterback.
no,
Jags
I mean
are,
maybe even fourth, fifth.
Jags are 7th in this draft.
Also, they're behind the Giants. So
Giants-
They're right
Giants are
before the
6th.
Lions. There.
Yeah.
Okay, so fair. They're not really going to have a real shot at him. They might have a Kyler Murray shot if he falls, but boy, that's been a roller coaster day to day with him, especially.
I've heard as high as 1. I've heard as low as like 20.
I still maintain he's going. What was our bet? 20.5.
Something around
I think it was
there.
something along those lines. Yeah, still maintain.
Take the under.
Yeah, I would take the under. As
I'm starting to believe the under is a good bet, but it's just weird.
It's not a smart pick, but
Yeah.
for the team. But
Yo, Spike,
Some team will take a
two
shot,
years in a row, the former Patriots offensive left tackle has become the new highest paid offensive left tackle in the league.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out for the Giants, but we'll see what happens this time around. I understand the need for good offensive linemen. I understand the need for paying them competitive wages, but good Lord, I mean, this was a massive contract. What was it, 4 years at $66 million?
Something like that. So it's like $18 million a year,
Yeah.
give or take. Yeah,
That's,
$16 million or something like that. Math is hard.
Yeah. Somebody get a calculator. I don't have my phone. It's 3 inches in front of me. I'm not going to do the math for you.
I'm going to say it's like $16.5 million.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's big, so it's, I don't know.
That's what she said. Not to you, but that's what she said. All right, so the biggest move in free agency wasn't actually a free agent signing at all. I think we can all agree with that. Maybe not the Le'Veon Bell. You still looking at me over there? What are you doing?
Your
hair's cute.
Just a fucking cretin, you know that?
Your hair's cute. I like that.
Damn right it is.
The biggest move, other than Le'Veon Bell, and I think we're going to spend, like I said, a little more time on him, but the biggest move actually wasn't done by a free agent at all. I think it was the Odell Beckham Jr. trade, and the way that this Cleveland Browns team now looks. I've already made a bet at 8.5. I still took the under. I got plus money on it. I don't feel great about it, but I just think there's too many egos in this locker room that one little thing's going to explode. And they're still the Browns, don't forget. They still actually have to show me that they're capable of winning 9 games.
Do they have the division odds out yet? Are they the favorite?
I heard
They
from
are
Westgate
the
they
favorite in
are
the
the
division,
Westgate.
and I believe they're 14-1 NFL Super Bowl odds.
Yeah, which is way too low.
Which they started before at like 35 or 40-1.
Wow.
Which was still pretty low. But
So
yeah.
they've moved with the addition of Kareem Hunt, the addition of Odell Beckham Jr., and I think they signed Sheldon Richardson as well. They've moved from 35-40-1 to 14-1.
Yeah.
Again, this all kind of goes. I mean, no disrespect to Odell Beckham Jr. He is just a receiver, and Kareem Hunt is a running back who now we know will miss the first half of the season. It all goes on Baker Mayfield. He's got to progress. I mean, this is the sophomore year. People have tape on him. We've all seen. There are some people who buck that trend, Spike, but I mean, a lot of people in their second year, especially you got the RG3s, guys like that who are a little bit mobile, like Baker Mayfield. The accuracy isn't the greatest. This is year 2. I mean, he's the one where this whole thing
Sophomore
goes.
slump, question mark? I mean,
You have the sophomore slump. You have Baker Mayfield, the cockiness, the swag. And you got a rookie coach who's got to deal with all of these egos that just came into this locker room.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the biggest issue for me. Although, what I'm looking at more so, there's the bet on William Hill for whether or not Cleveland makes the playoffs. And currently, yes is at minus 160. So they are a heavy favorite to make the playoffs. But then look at the rest of that division. Baltimore's starting. Lamar has never thrown over 200 yards in a game. Jackson as their quarterback for 16 games.
Yeah, actually, last week he clocked doing 105 in his car. I think that's more than his career high in passing yards.
Pittsburgh's essentially just been broken up, and
I'll disagree with that, but I'll let you finish.
yeah, but
they've got a few movement.
I get what you're
out,
saying. Their
but,
two
I mean,
Hall of Famers are gone. Yes,
Right,
that is
so-
correct. There's no denying that.
it's a problem. And if they couldn't make the playoffs last year with those guys, losing them doesn't
Well,
make
Le'Veon
them.
Bell wasn't there, but yes, you're right.
But losing them doesn't make them a better team. Is the point. And then Cincinnati is Cincinnati. So
Yes, I'll agree with you on that. That's well said, sir.
so Cleveland making the playoffs at
But
minus
Cincinnati
160.
did take a step in the right direction with no more head coach of Marvin Jackson.
Marvin Lewis?
Marvin
Lewis,
yeah.
yes.
Don't be so sure. Week 1 hasn't started yet.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
could
true.
still rehire Marvin
yeah,
Lewis.
We thought the same last year around this time. So
Yeah, they could
that's
still
true.
rehire Marvin Lewis. Speaking of Pittsburgh, the only thing I'm kind of worried about, I think James Conner can be a serviceable back. We've got the draft to see what's going on. Big Ben and Mike Tomlin have the locker room clear, so to speak, even though I believe Mike Tomlin should have got some shit for this. He's going to get off scot-free, whatever. That's the Rooney's decision to make. I think the problem might be Juju Smith flourished because of the double teams Antonio Brown had to take. Now him being a number 1 receiver, hopefully James Washington can be better. And, I mean, if history shows anything, Pittsburgh's pretty good at developing wide receivers.
Well, completely true.
But they are statistically on paper worse than the Browns. I would agree with
right. And Roethlisberger,
which is a weird thing to say. I never thought I'd say that.
Another year older, and I think they have, top of their depth chart for Pittsburgh is very strong. But beyond that, it just doesn't fill me with any confidence, and I truly
defense
think
has got to get better.
Yeah, the defense has to get better, and I don't know that they have, at least not yet on paper. And I think a Cleveland team going 9-7, winning the division, isn't out of the question at this point.
That's a fair assessment. You're right. I hope they go 8-8 so I can win my bet.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah,
how about 8-7-1?
How come you bet it so quickly and right away? What was the strategy behind that?
just I don't know. Just pure. Somebody came at me and said that they're going to be like 12-4, and I just said, I'll say they won't even win 9 games.
Ah, okay.
So
Sort of a pissing contest type of wager.
yeah, sure. Except I gave away 4 games.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
that's weird. If you
I
could
don't
have gotten maybe 10 or 11.
It was just. It's only for like $20.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is on William Hill. They are the only team with a win total that you can bet on right now.
Yeah,
They're the sexy pick right now. Yeah,
they are.
But we talked about OBJ going to Cleveland to replace him. Sneaky move that I think flew under the radar a little bit was Golden Tate's actually going to the Giants to replace him. Obviously, the problem is not Golden Tate being there; it's the guy fucking calling plays, Eli Manning. They're still, I mean, they're locked in now. At this point, you can continue to make fun of Eli and continue to make fun of the management, the staff that keep him there. Look, they didn't draft Sam Darnold. They may draft Dwayne Haskins now, but he's still a year or 2 away. So I guess if we're stuck with Eli Manning, getting him a receiver of this magnitude, and again, that might be the wrong word, but getting a receiver of this caliber might be the
I see
might be the
celebration
antidote.
happening.
Might be the antidote, baby. I just won that Chinese tennis bet. That's exciting.
Oh, it won?
I guess.
Yeah.
I won.
You
It's
rolled
over.
off 3 straight
It's
games.
over.
Fucking A.
It done?
I can't hold serve, but he hits it for fucking.
No, he holds serve after he
Whatever.
got
Fuck
broken
it. I
by
don't even
Love.
care.
Yeah.
You said it's over. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, 6-3 final in this other set. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, a sneaky guy I wanted the New England Patriots to sign was Adam Humphries out of Tampa. He got a $9 million per year contract with Tennessee. They'll find a way to fuck him up. But Golden Tate, I think, is a sneaky move, dude. I think Golden Tate's a sneaky move that nobody's talking about, and I still think he has a few years left, even though at 31 he's will be on the back 9 of his career. But I think for all the talk of shipping OBJ out, they weren't winning with him, and they're saving $12 million a year.
Yeah, ridiculous amount of cap space, and
Yep.
Eli's not awful, but he's not great. So,
He's more closer to awful than he is closer to great.
yeah.
He's awful with occasional, like, once every 8 games flashes of brilliance. I think every once in a while he puts up a game where you're like, oh yeah, that's Eli in the Super Bowl again. That motherfucker.
He played well against Houston on the road this year. That's about the only time I really felt like he played legit well. But besides that, he is an absolute Tom Savage-like statue.
Oh.
And he can't.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
It is.
It's true, but it's a bold statement. So my favorite part just so far has been, this is the time of year where every fan of every team is like pumping their chest going, we got this guy, the draft's coming up, blah, blah, this. But fuckface over here is like, it's the Lions, they'll find a way to fuck shit up.
Last year I was in that mode of being all excited and all that.
Were you?
This year I know.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Trey Flowers isn't going to tip the scales for you. You still have,
Well, I mean, we got
Stat Padford.
Amendola, stuff like that. But yeah, I already know we're going to finish 4th in the division.
It's a competitive division.
It is.
Yeah.
fairness.
Yeah, I don't even think the Bears will win it this year. I think the Vikings will.
Fair enough.
I agree.
I think if they don't, then Zimmer's out, and Kirk Cousins has one more year left to prove this wasn't a colossal failure.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's dive into this Le'Veon Bell talk, because at first glance, most people, most talking heads who said he was stupid for sitting out, saving the $14 million, are like, aha, see? Look, he got 13.25 average annual value. So, initial thoughts, I'll go around the room. Do you think this worked out for Le'Veon Bell after the dust has settled? Obviously, he hasn't played a game yet, but I mean, he's put pen to paper at this point.
Yeah, I'm 100% in the talking head camp. He has stressed many times that he wanted to be paid as a wide receiver, as a big time wide receiver in that $17 to $18 million range, and not getting anywhere close to that for his latest contract. Number one, and two, obviously not getting the 14 last year. And then, of course, the third point is that he could have signed with Pittsburgh the last year when he was offered a contract worth well over
$70 million over 5. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's about $14 million a year.
Right. So not nearly as much guaranteed money on that one. And I understand that point, but that contract was there, to be signed by him. So I do think this is a significant loss for him, and I don't know the track record on players that have sat out a year, but my guess is it's not great. For how they come back.
Too many people who have done that before.
Yeah. Well, whether they wanted to or not, maybe it was because of suspension or because of
injury or whatever.
Yeah, it's just I think this is
sitting out purely for a financial
probably
standpoint.
towards the negative.
Yeah, I just think this is unlikely to work out extremely well for Le'Veon in regards to his career. Now with the Jets, getting a player of this caliber, I think for this dollar amount seems like a very, very good move.
It's a hell of a win.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a great win. It's not necessarily a guy I want to maybe be dealing with on a daily basis. That's the big drawback here. But I think you'll take that trade off for this
sure
this
with
type of contract.
$13.125 million. Spike, the question I have is we've obviously seen that Le'Veon Bell is willing to sit out when he feels like the value of the money is not the value of what he's putting out. Le'Veon Bell may play ball for a year here, but what if the Jets, are still far behind the Patriots? Sam Darnold's not developing, and they're out there toting the rock with Le'Veon Bell 400 times a year. Can you not see a situation where Le'Veon Bell says, fuck this, and shuts it down himself?
Yeah, he very well could, and that's part of the problem for Bell is now he is going to be beat by the Patriots twice a year instead of just once. And now he has to watch other teams make the playoffs every year where he's not going to be able to. So, yeah, it's very possible that he is going to realize that trying to help develop a young quarterback and
virtually no receiving core there.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very rough team. He's going to get the carries that he wants, and he's going to get probably the yards that he wants.
Does he want the carries? That's the big question. Is like, if he's putting his heart and soul and body on the line, 25, 30 times a game, and they're still losing. I think that was the point in Pittsburgh. He was the one toting the rock. He had 400 carries and 85 catches.
Yeah, he was getting like 80% of the action.
And he was only making like $8 or $9 million. I just feel like, especially Token, with the taxes in New York, he's going to see probably just over half of this contract, which is what surprised me. I'll let you kind of elaborate on it, but that's what kind of surprised me is, for a guy Le'Veon Bell, it was all about the money. I'm saving my body for this money. It wasn't like I'm saving my body for a contender, because you're right, Tony, he would have re-signed with Pittsburgh. So this was literally all about the money, but it seems like he kind of botched this. I would be upset at my agent for this one.
The only way I could see this as a win for him is if he gets a whole bunch of like endorsement deals and stuff like that.
Maybe it is New York. I mean, the thing is he's probably going to have his face on a few billboards in Times Square or whatever.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, I think the max value of this contract can push up to like $60 million. So I mean, if I'm correct, he's in the 37% tax bracket. I believe New York is like 10% state income tax.
Yeah.
So we're at 47. So he's literally over the $60 million. He's literally seeing just over 30, probably $33 million of this contract. So again, if you were all about the money, how are you not signing with Houston? How are you not signing with Jacksonville? How are you not signing with Tampa? How are you not signing with Miami, where you can shave at least that 10% off? Mm-hmm. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. He clearly is not going to be competitive. I mean, I don't know. Maybe with C.J. Mosley, Jamison Crowder, it just doesn't strike me as a team that's ready to compete, at least right now. And he's only there for 4 years. So if it was all about the money, I really feel like even if he signed with the Raiders for the 1 year and then came to Las Vegas, he can then be right back into the no state.
Yeah.
It seems like a botched deal for me, and I'm willing to more believe that there was really not that many offers on the table.
I agree. I tend to absolutely believe that. I think he was way ridiculous how much he was asking and how much he wanted guaranteed off his contract, too.
Now, look, I will be I'm the first guy to not worry about the amount of money players are asking for, because that just doesn't help me sleep at night. You're not going to get my pity. But I actually believe he's worth a lot more than 13. Maybe not 20, but I believe his value.
15 to 16, something.
I believe his value was among the top premier players in the league. Don't get me wrong. If anybody was willing to pay him that, I would have said, I think you're getting a good back. I mean, with a year off, I don't know, Spike. It could have been detrimental to him. We'll see. But, it just seems like there really wasn't anybody in that, willing to throw up that $16 to $18 million range for more than. There were rumors out there that people were offering him 2-year deals with some guaranteed money, but
it was a low, probably percentage guarantee and all that.
But correct. But again, if you play 2 years, he'll be 29 at that point. He'll have made some money in maybe a city that has a less state income tax than New York.
Yeah,
and and then he might have had another shot for like a Twilight contract. This one just seems like a head scratcher to me. And obviously on Twitter, he's like, "Don't worry about me. My agent did a great job. I fail to agree with that statement."
Yeah, and if this were any other league, I would wonder if him sitting out the year is the reason that some of the teams wouldn't sign him, saying that he's too childish or he's throwing a temper tantrum and everything else. But this is the NFL, and if you can produce, you're going to get signed, like Kareem Hunt, like Josh Gordon, who can't stay out of trouble. We can go on and on and on and on and on. For me, if he was having this much trouble trying to find a suitor that was willing to spend the money that he wanted, and he ended up signing with the Jets for less money that he would have gotten in Pittsburgh, that to me just says that every other team out there thinks that he overvalued himself.
Yeah.
And that's,
because I really thought he was going to get 4 for $65. I really thought that was the contract. Somewhere in the $16 million range. And, I know that they're splitting hairs with 16 versus 13, but it's a big gap.
Oh, yeah. But at some point, somebody, whether it's the agent or a manager or a loved one or a friend or, somebody has to step in and say, you are delusional. Stop asking for this amount of money.
Ain't going to be the agent, but yeah, you're right. Probably a family member.
Yeah, somebody has to step in and say, you are not being realistic in the market that's out there. So go out and et cetera and so on, and maybe somebody did, and that's why he signed with New York for so much less money.
To walk away from 14,
and he walked away. That was the thing.
Yeah.
But
he walked away.
I think at some point you have to, if you're a family member or somebody trying to talk some sense to him, look, this is in the past. You've already walked away from $14 million. You need to focus on getting into a camp, because you're right. It's a situation where I think and again, I think it likens back to another situation you talked about. Teams being cautious. I really believe if he signed with. Even with the Jets, signed with a team that's really not going to be competitive, even Miami or Tampa Bay, if things aren't going his way and he's toting the rock 400 times, he could literally just say, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to hurt my body for this small amount of money. And I think teams backed off. They're like, I'm not giving you 17 or 18 if this is a possibility. Look how much due diligence these teams put into the NFL draft. We all call it the Underwear Olympics. But teams literally pour lots of money and time in scouts. Mm-hmm. You don't think they're going to do that with a guy who literally just sat out a year and literally I keep saying literally, but on Twitter basically said it's all about the money. I think he fucked himself by not playing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, at the end of the day, he's going to bed with $13 million more than I make. So, $13 plus million more than I make. But I'm just saying, to say it's all about the money and then sign with New York, that's almost as dumb as signing with the 49ers or or the Chargers or the Rams. If it was all about the money, then taking $13 million where you're going to see just over half of that each year was just didn't make a lot of sense to me. So, any other players that kind of struck your eye who are going to teams you believe that are kind of sleeper spots to pick up? What am I saying? Making the teams better. Obviously, we talk about the Cleveland, and on paper, yes, it looks fantastic. But like I said, Adam Humphries is an underrated guy who I think if Tennessee uses him properly, that guy could be a 1,000-yard receiver in Tennessee.
Yeah, he could definitely boost that offensive production for sure. And one that I thought was kind of odd that the Broncos traded for Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it clearly wasn't working with Keenum. They had an out with him. I think they traded Keenum to the Redskins.
Sounds right.
Yeah,
I think
because he has the possibility of playing in 4 time zones and with different teams over the last 4 years.
I think
all the time zones.
Yeah, you're probably right. That was probably what was going through his mind as he said it. And he gets traded. He's like, "Oh, cool! I'm going to be the first quarterback to start in 4 time zones in 2 years."
No.
But speaking of, Ryan Fitzpatrick looks like he's the odds-on starter unless the draft changes things in Miami.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if
Fitzmagic has gone downhill.
Wow.
But on the plus side, he could be the first guy to ever throw passes for 8 different teams.
That's pretty impressive.
That is,
Yeah, is it?
I mean, it's impressive in the fact that his career has been so long that he was able to last with different teams and get there. If he was doing 8 teams in 8 years, that would be a problem. He's doing 8 in, 17, 18 years? I don't know how long he's been in the league now.
Can't be that long, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So just that fact to me, I think that is impressive. And then, it's Fitzmagic, so we might see a little bit of pop from Miami, whose greatest achievement this year was the Miami Miracle, which dropped them like 6 points in the draft, or 6 places in the draft, and that was the entirety of what that accomplished for them.
He's been in the league 14 years. He was drafted number 250 overall in 7th round. And he's still making $5.5 million a year.
Wow, good for him. Good for the Harvard product.
Yeah, there you go. I remember one time somebody said you should make it a drinking game every time he plays that someone mentions he went to Harvard.
Good God, are they trying to kill you?
They could. Yeah, that would be an interesting drinking game. It would be a terrible drinking game, but at the same time
drunk.
good. But does that spike put the Miami Dolphins in the hunt for a quarterback? They traded Ryan Tannehill to the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, I guess he's going to compete with Mariota, who, Tony and I kind of went back and forth for about 30 seconds about Mariota. Actually, I believe Mariota actually needs competition. I think he hasn't been Jameis Winston type bust, but I would say overall he's been kind of a bust.
I definitely agree with that. He hasn't been the gangbusters that everybody expected when he was drafted. They thought, you get this guy, he's the savior of the team, you're going to be in first place or competing for first every year, and that just hasn't been the case. He hasn't looked great a lot of the time, and I think you're right. I think having the competition of Tannehill behind him. Now, I don't think Tannehill is exactly the right competition to have behind him, because I don't think he's good enough to really challenge Mariota for that starting spot right now, but I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, nothing that I've seen out of Tannehill has impressed me over the last however many years. And for as not high on Mariota as I may be, Tannehill's probably right in the same camp.
Yeah, to me, they've both shown flashes of great play here and there. It's just they can't really stay healthy, either one of them, and that's obviously clearly an issue. You have to be healthy, you have to be on the field in order to win games for your team. And I thought there was a really nice stretch that Mariota played last year in about 3 or 4 games, all starting with that Sunday night football game of dominance where he really didn't miss a pass for the first 3.5 quarters. And then towards the end of the year, he really faded again, and we saw some of that old Marcus play from his rookie season and into his second year, that where he was missing easy throws and he wasn't making the best decisions. He was tucking the ball a little too early, and I thought there was a regression there towards the end of last season, which really culminated in that Indianapolis game at the end of the year, which they needed to win, and he had a horrendous game, especially in the second half. So yeah, I'm with you. I've not been impressed with either one of them. I do think that Tannehill could certainly push and could certainly win this job. In my opinion, having watched both of them, I don't necessarily see one, touted over the other at this point. At least in any significance. I think they're both sort of in full competition. Or at least that's what I would expect.
Man, I'm looking at the Wikipedia for that 2015 draft. This quarterback, for as good as the running back draft is, and I'll go down it, this quarterback draft class might go down as one of the worst of all time. You have Winston and Mariota going 1 and 2. You have Garrett Grayson. Everybody heard of him?
No.
Who? Exactly. You have Sean Mannion going in the third round.
Oregon State,
yeah.
Wow.
Bryce Petty to the Jets, who's out of the league.
Baylor.
Yeah, we got it. Okay. All right, calm down.
See if I can do them all.
Okay. Well, where does Garrett Grayson go?
I think that was like Arizona, but I don't know.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Brett Hundley.
UCLA.
Yep. And Trevor Siemian.
Northwestern.
You should know that one, Mr. Chicago. So that's the quarterback class from 2015. That might go down as one of the worst.
Where did Grayson go to school?
Colorado State.
And of course, we know where Fitzpatrick went. So.
Oh, I should have known that for sure. That was bad.
What?
Was Fitzpatrick
He wasn't in the
2015?
2015 class.
Never mind.
Grayson.
I'll point to you when it's your turn to speak. So then you have Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Amir Abdullah, Duke Johnson, David Johnson, Buck Allen, Jay Ajayi, all running backs in that class.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll point to you when it's your turn to speak too. Actually, overall, it was a pretty good draft. Just from quarterback standpoint, it's just hot garbage.
Good stuff.
Anywho, so going forward, the Tannehill is an interesting. I mean, they got him basically for scraps. So anything he can provide, even when Mariota inevitably gets hurt, that could be a situation where that might be a situation where the Tennessee may get better by having Tannehill. Again, you talked about when you've seen Tannehill in the play, you haven't been impressed. I actually believe, I could be wrong, and you might want to look this up. I believe he has a winning record in the games
overall?
he's played. In him personally, or it might be close.
I think if he started and finished the game, if it started and finished, I believe he does have a winning record, yes.
Let's find out.
He said.
While you're finding out, one other really strange and bad contract signing that I just saw was Cole Beasley signed a 4-year deal with Buffalo for $29 million, and about $12 million of that is guaranteed for the first couple of years. And he's 29 years old, and he's a short, non-speedy receiver, which doesn't really make any sense. Yeah, he doesn't run very well anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah. He used to be very, very quick, but he's lost
regressed
a step or two. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe that's true. I was say he used to be that kind of.
Oh, he used to be quick. No question. Yeah, but that contract makes absolutely no sense, especially 4 years for a guy that's already 29. And then
I like the John Brown signing they did, though. I like that guy. I got a little love for John Brown.
Sure, but I mean
But you're right. That's not the greatest signing for $30 million.
No. And then I think one that I liked in the running back category that I had seen, where was it? Oh yeah, here we go. With San Francisco picking up Tevin Coleman for 2 years and only $8.5 million. Going into a backfield that I think is in. There's some question marks going forward. There was we had the injury to McKinnon early on last year. We'll see if he comes back and if he's even 100% or if he remains with the team. And Tevin Coleman being added into the mix, I think, could be a wonderful option, especially if he's not the main. We've seen him as the main back or the number one kind of player and not be very successful with Atlanta. But as a secondary option when he remains fresh. He can be a great spot there, and still only being 25 years old. I think that's a really, really good one there for San Francisco.
He looks like he's just sub 500, 42 and 46. Ryan Tannehill.
Is that start and finish? I know there's been a lot of games that he's come out of.
That's
the game
a fair
too.
assessment. I don't know. I don't want to take the time to look that up. But
and Mariota's got the same problem where I can't tell how many games he's started and finished, but overall his record is 27 and 28.
Yeah, but I have 28-29, but splitting hairs there.
Yeah, but he is.
That might include playoffs. I don't know.
69 and 40 or 69 to 42 touchdown to interception ratio, and he does have over 12,000 yards at this point.
Regular season, okay. So Regular season, we got Tannehill at still 42 and 46, and Marcus Mariota at 27.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be a battle in
playoff.
camp. I really think it'll be a battle.
I really
in camp.
think it will too. And again, I don't know because you have the Derrick Henry train who played pretty well down the stretch last year. Can he continue that? If he can, he makes either quarterback have a nice little safety blanket.
Yeah.
And again, I really think Adam Humphries means a lot. He's a nice possession receiver. Plays a little like Edelman. I don't think he's as quick and scatty as Edelman. But he has a chance to really be like I said, a production. I'm going to probably fall flat on my face here, and he probably goes 28 catches for like 400 yards.
Well, he could be just scratching the surface too.
Yeah.
We've only seen him at his best for a brief time with Tampa Bay.
But I think I said that. I think I was texting you guys last year about I love this Humphries guy. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of money just flying around here. Yeah, you're right. It's just we're never going to know. I mean, Landon Collins, everybody's saying that's a huge bust to pay that guy I think it's like $17 million a year or
it's 84 over
84 over 6, a $14 million average annual value a year. They're guaranteeing him $500 for a guy who, from what I talk to Giants fans who watch the games, he's a hard-hitting free safety who can't cover anybody. Well, that's a problem, especially when you're the free safety. You're usually the one in coverage who is probably playing either over the top or you're playing a slot guy, and if you lose track of him, you're the one giving up the touchdown at that point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. How about AP? AP back in the league, still with Washington. 2 more years. 34.
I thought he would go back to his old roots in Minnesota or somewhere else in the NFC North.
I mean, Minnesota probably didn't even pick up the phone. They got Murray and...
no, Murray's no there.
Did I miss Murray? Did he go somewhere?
Cook.
I know they have Dalvin Cook. He might have been a good...
Latavius signed with New Orleans.
Yeah, because no more Ingram now.
4 years, $14 million.
I love Latavius Murray.
It's a great contract.
Yeah,
it's
still
another
two-handed
contract.
4 years for what?
14. It's a great contract.
4 years, 14 total?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, that's a steal.
Yeah, it's nice.
Latavius Murray from?
No idea. Oh, really? I did not know that one. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that one I did not know.
I pointed to my UCF sweater just in case anybody... It doesn't translate well on podcast radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have gotten Garrett Grayson, but that one I did not know.
Should have gotten Garrett. Don't beat yourself up, buddy. Don't beat yourself up. Hey, next time you need a shoulder to cry on, we'll just bet Chinese tennis at the middle of 10:58 at night.
I'm glad I backed you there, because apparently if I had backed all the other bets you had made, it wouldn't have gone well, but that one was...
Anything post-golf. Okay,
yeah, post-golf.
Degen Sunday started off on a very... Like, it's a roller coaster. You're going up. The golf bets went fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I made some bets. Actually, even Michigan State was a good bet. And then it went...
South quick.
And then the game I've come to learn to hate...
Hockey.
No, Pai Gow.
Oh, that too.
Pai Gow was a terrible, terrible decision.
We didn't run well in Pai Gow at all.
I got 4 of 10 and still lost 400 quick.
Yeah, that guy gave
true.
you a lot of money and took it back just as fast.
Yeah,
the one quick dealer did too.
Yeah, but she thought you were cute.
Hey.
Oh.
She was weird.
She was weird.
Little Armenian, yeah.
Well, yeah, if she thought you were cute, then she's definitely fucking weird.
Nice.
All right, so let's kind of make some bold predictions. Patriots, will they win the AFC East next year?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that bold to say yes?
Let's just make some predictions. Let's take out bold. Fuck off. Whatever.
That division is
I made a bold
still
prediction
train
that Dustin Johnson missed the cut and he finished 7th. So
yeah, it's the division is still a train wreck. Buffalo and Miami, I think, are still going to be terrible. And then, the Jets. Can they? Really?
I think Miami's going to have a problem. Yes,
Miami's going to have a huge problem.
The Jets and the Bills, it's all their quarterback. Their quarterback, Josh Allen, looked a little better last year. A little.
Towards the end of the year.
They've got a great defensive coach. No question there. But
and everybody loves
Sean McDermott's amazing.
Including myself. Everybody loves what Sam Darnold can be.
Not everybody, but yes. I'm not a believer in Sam Darnold.
Are we penciling in the Patriots for 11 wins?
I would say for sure 10, but
I could see a year where they win this at like 10-6.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're going to win the division. They'll be a huge.
I see 10-6 for sure. 11 might be pushing it.
They're probably a 6-1 favorite to win the division. It maybe a little less, but
I'd say they're a minus. You think they're minus 600 to win the?
Something like that. Who can actually challenge them? That's the question. Maybe Buffalo.
I'm trying to think of what
the
they
defense.
were last year. Yeah,
Buffalo.
I think they were around 8 or 1,000. Minus 800 or 1,000 before the season started. It was something gross like that, yeah.
Fair enough.
And
All
the
right.
division got worse almost.
Yeah.
Almost overall.
I would say right around 700, minus 700.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously you have the 6 inner division matchups, but they got Cleveland this year at home. They got Pittsburgh at home. They got Dallas at home. They got Kansas City at home.
Kansas City's going to stink this year.
Well, yeah,
they're going to
first
regress. I'm not necessarily sure they're going to stink, though.
Yeah, no, they're going to be terrible.
Kansas City?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been on that train for a while.
Yeah. He's since the middle of last year.
He's been on that train. He said whatever the over is, or whatever the win total is, take the under.
Yeah, but they won't be terrible, though.
I actually think you might be onto something because their away games are the 3 divisions: Philadelphia, Washington, Baltimore, and Cincinnati, and Houston.
When's the last time Andy Reid had a terrible team? It has basically not happened in a decade.
Yeah, but I mean, you figure do we have season win totals?
Not yet. Well, at least not on William Hill.
Do you figure that they're going to be 11.5 without Kareem Hunt? Do you think they're going to be like 11?
No, I would say 10.5 would be.
It might be 10.5 because L.A. is pretty good.
I was going to say the Chargers are winning that division.
It's pretty good. You could say the Raiders got better
would agree
with
with
Antonio
that
Brown
statement.
and Trent Brown, and if they're at 11, I'd take the under. 10.5, I'd probably still take it the under. I could see them finishing that 10-6 and having the Chargers or the Clippers, as you so affectionately call it. I could see the Clippers going 12-4 again, or 11-5 again, and taking that division.
Yeah, especially with the
that,
Clippers playing a second place schedule and the Chiefs playing a first.
But even if they're 10-6, that's not a terrible team. That's still a good team.
Nobody said it was a good team. He just said he was going to be under the win total.
He said terrible.
Yeah, I did.
He said terrible. I missed that.
terrible.
Okay, my apologies.
I have said terrible, and I still.
He's a terrible person, so I mean,
Well,
he just drags that down with
Also true, but I
He's
think
the owner of terribles.
the league
That
adjusts to young quarterbacks, and they can adjust quickly. And I think Mahomes, now that the league has enough tape on him, they're going to be able to adjust, and they're going to be able to shut him down next year.
I don't think he's a guy you can just simply adjust to. I think he is a
You might be able to slow
transcendent type
him
of
down,
quarterback.
but
Yeah, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Yeah,
I think he's a transcendent quarterback. I think he's as good as it gets going forward.
Keep in mind, I also took the Bears winning under 6.5 games this past year because I didn't believe in Mitch Trubisky. So.
I don't believe in Mitch either. Believe me, I'm 100%.
Hey, you know what?
The Bears were good.
I never got my due
It wasn't
process for
Mitch.
writing that article that said the Bears would win the NFC North last year. Anyone?
I give you credit for
Anyone
it.
want to give me some love
was on that too.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job with the Bears. I didn't believe it either because I'm also very anti-Mitch. Still am and will be continuously. But that defense was phenomenal.
What happened with Gostkowski? Did they re-sign him or did they just let him walk?
They didn't franchise him. I haven't heard.
They let him test free agent. I mean, not that free agency is over, but I mean, I feel like he's still just kind of
Floating
around.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I haven't paid attention. My father-in-law is in town this weekend, so I haven't been able to really keep up with
Still
everything.
unsigned.
Yep, still unsigned. I think
Vinatieri signed though. One-year deal with Indy.
I think he signed right after they got eliminated, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, it just says he signed, so I don't know what it was.
Yeah, for sure.
$3.875 million. There you
Wow.
go.
That's a lot for a Santa Claus kicker.
There you go.
So, I don't know. It's early. It's time for Browns fan to pump his chest. I mean, you think about it. Just a year ago, they were giving out free beer for a win. They were like, "Please just win," and now we're talking 14-1 to win the Super Bowl, and now they're gonna win the. I just think until you knock off the Ravens won last year, but it's been Baltimore, Pittsburgh for
decade.
the better part of 15 years, with the exception of a Cincinnati here and there. But until you slay the giant, even with all of those, are there enough balls to go around?
It's still going to be tough for them to win the division. I'm with you. I think it's going to be tough.
I don't think the Steelers got as bad as everyone wants to make it. But again, this is the time where everybody believes that they just moved into the contender phase. And just like you said, every year, last year we were looking at, oh my God, Danny Amendola left. Oh my God, Nate Solder left. What are they going to do? Well, they're just going to sit back, have a glass of orange juice, and win another Super Bowl. So you just never quite.
We're talking about the Chargers winning 11, 12 games.
Yeah.
And they're plus 850 to win the AFC, and the Browns are plus 750. They have lower odds than the Chargers do.
You would think
the Chargers over. But
you would think they'd have an easier path, being the Browns would have an easier path. People thought that the AFC. People think the AFC North got worse, and people think the AFC West got better, or is good.
They are good. Yes, I mean those two teams.
Denver played all four of those games tough against KC and not San Diego, but the Clippers, LA. One day we'll get there. I still call them San Diego myself. But my point being is that
amazing.
it's like we talked about with March Madness, which is coming up too as well. You know, sometimes the team might be rated higher because their path to the final is easier. So again, like you said, transcendent quarterback sitting ahead of Phillip Rivers there, and Phillip Rivers is another year older. Maybe that's why they don't believe in the Chargers as much.
That could be the reason.
So, all right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Any parting thoughts other than fuck the Jets and haha Le'Veon Bell?
I'm excited this week for the WSOB Chameleon Championship.
I'm sorry I asked for that, for input on that one, but good for you. Good for you. World Series of Bowling. Is Mookie Betts playing?
Mookie Betts is not. It's in Detroit this year.
Oh. And I'd like to make a PSA for anyone out there. Don't be like me. Don't play fantasy baseball. I already hate it. It's the first time.
God.
I already hate it, and the season hasn't even started yet.
I warned you.
Yeah, daily fantasy baseball is rough.
I could play DFS, like daily fantasy baseball, and that's
Oh, yeah, I mean, having to set your lineups
But
every day
yes,
for a
that's-
season long.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be a long season.
I like baseball, but this might make me hate it.
Yeah. That's, it's a rough one.
So, all right,
And,
well, let's.
wait,
go ahead.
wait.
You had a parting shot. Okay.
I do have a parting shot. We do have to say congratulations to the expansion Minnesota Whitecaps of the NWHL for winning the Isabel Cup today, 2-1 in overtime over the Buffalo Beauts.
Is that women's hockey?
Women's hockey.
I would go on a limb and say he's the only person in the 3 time zones that aren't the Eastern. No, where's Minnesota at? Central?
Central, yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Okay, the
Central.
2 left time zones that made that mention.
So, Mountain and Pacific.
Mountain and Pacific and whatever Hawaii's in.
I will
Hawaii.
say, the Arizona Coyotes sent a thank you or congratulations to the Minnesota Whitecaps on Twitter.
Doesn't
So-
Denver have a team too? I would assume.
Denver
That's
does not have a
hockey
team.
playing area.
There are 5 teams in the NWHL right now. Minnesota came in this year, and then it's Boston, Hartford, Buffalo, and New York, which they call the Metro.
So Minnesota did what the Vegas Golden Knights couldn't do.
Yes, they close it out.
They sealed the deal. All right. Do you have any parting shots before I cut? I didn't mean to cut off Spike. Sorry about that, sir.
No, everything is good. I'm glad we had Degen Sunday.
It was degenerate.
It was an extreme degenerate day. It was my favorite day of the week, or whenever it can happen. I love Degen Sunday.
There's still 52 minutes left. We can go over and hit Santa Fe for some more pie gow or craps or something.
I'm pied out for today.
Pie Gow. Don't mention Pie Gow.
I'm tempted, but good God.
Well, now you're closer to even, so.
Let's
I'm only down after Degen Sunday. I'm only down $200.
That's
Let's hit
a
like
win
a-
on Degen
That feels
Sunday.
like a win.
let's go somewhere, hit like a 2-4 table, and fuck with the OMCs.
I don't know. Is there any 2-4 even around in Vegas anymore?
Yeah, Red Rock runs it.
Yeah, Red Rock.
They do.
I don't want to go back to Red Rock.
Orleans.
You could be one quack off again.
Yep, that's true. So, all right, well, let's get out of here.
Santa Fe too. It was 2-4.
Do they have 2-4 at Santa Fe?
They do.
All right, let's get out of here with thank of the sponsors: 12-Ounce Sports Radio, Vegas Puckline Apparel, ChaiPoker.com, and Eric on the Web Productions. And we want to thank everybody for listening. We'll be on again Wednesday with the Valspar, right?
Yes, Valspar this week.
We'll be wrapping up the players and talking about the Valspar, the
And
last
maybe a
leg
little
of the.
bit and basketball. We're going to do any March Madness, it being Wednesday or no?
You were the one who literally said, "I don't want to do March Madness podcast."
I'm just saying we could be prepared by then if need be.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great podcast.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying it'd be good. I'm just saying it could happen.
All right, we'll have some. We may have a 2-podcast day. We might have the March Madness and we might have the Valspar.
Okay.
If anybody should be pushing for a March Madness podcast, it should be me, given that I was the only one that picked Umbuck to upset
To beat
Virginia.
his Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Last
They're
year,
mine now. Yes, they weren't then.
that was that was me really doing in-depth analysis of, hey, a 16 is overdue to beat a
I
1.
heard you took 2 other 16. seeds as
Overdue.
well.
It's never
Well,
happened. You did take 2 other 16.
Did I?
Yeah.
I could have sworn that
you
was
took
the only
3
one.
out of 4 of them. Yeah.
That doesn't
We
sound
can go
right.
back and check the tape.
Yeah,
But,
let's check the tape on that one, because
I will
I'm
not
pretty
be
sure
wrong
I
for
only
that
took the
check.
one.
all right, I will. Parting shot. I remembered. I'm probably the only guy in the Pacific time zone that would like to say congratulations to UCF basketball for making the tournament for the first time in 15 years.
Who will be beating Duke on Saturday or Sunday of this upcoming?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not even sure they're going to beat Virginia Commonwealth.
Okay.
I'd like them to. Actually, fun fact, I have Virginia Commonwealth and UCF at 500 to 1 to win the tournament. So I have a
go.
free round.
Maybe
go.
Duke will go down first round.
Oh, another 16 seed, right?
That would be nice.
Can you root for them?
Who are they? Who's Duke playing?
They have a play-in game.
Oh God.
So they have to. They don't even know who they're playing yet. That they're going to destroy by 50.
Hard to prepare for if you don't know who you're playing.
Exactly. They're going to be
Love it.
behind on tape and
Love
everything.
it.
Yep.
Let's pump the brakes. All right, that's it for us. Again, thank the sponsors. Thanks again. Thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next podcast.